attention for a minute. Gnocchi is a potato pasta, yeah? How are we starting off? We start off with, our recipe is 2 pounds of baked potatoes. What kind of potatoes do we use for gnocchi?
Idaho, Russian.
Why?
Because they have low moisture.
Low moisture. Really good. Sela's taking 2 pounds of Idaho potatoes and running them through a ricer or a food mill. We started off with our potatoes like this, and they're coming out like that. When we have 2 pounds of potatoes, Idaho's baked and riced, we're putting 2 egg yolks in. 1 egg yolk per pound of grated riced potato. This is about all gnocchi is, basically, believe it? Put a little bit of pepper in there because...
Potato, egg yolks, and...
We're going to add a little bit of flour to make it work, Sharon. Otherwise it comes out a little too sticky. We put enough flour in to make it work. Salt, potato.
You already add flour?
Not yet. Right now we have potatoes, salt, pepper. Salt, garlic powder, a little pepper, 2 egg yolks, and 2 pounds of riced potato. How's that? We're going to make 2 different flavor batches. Let's try a little nutmeg in this one. Running a fresh nutmeg right on the microplane. Not too much. Just a nice little perfume it'll give that. Whoops. I'd say that's a little heavy on perfume. We're going to mix this very well. Working our egg yolks. Right into our potato mix. How's that smell?
Really strong smell.
Nice? Very strong smell. It's a gnocchi mix. Now we have a cup and a half of flour in this recipe. A cup and a half of flour is in the measuring cup, I believe.
They're all coming in.
It's all in there. We're going to put a little bit of the cup and a half in there. Not all the cup and a half that the recipe calls for. Why? Because if you put all the cup and a half of flour in there, the gnocchi comes out very chewy. You're going to see 2 or 3 kinds of gnocchi today. It's one of my personal favorite pastas. I like it. I like it a lot. You want to put the minimal amount of flour in here that you need to get it to work. Dusting our boards with some flour, just regular all-purpose flour. And then turn the gnocchi dough right out.
And then you have to use high gluten or you can use all-purpose?
No, all-purpose. The amount of flour you need in here depends on the potato, depends how wet it is. This is pretty close to, I guess I need just a tad more flour, but I'm certainly not going to use the whole cup and a half. The less flour you use, the better, the more delicate the gnocchi are. If you put all the flour in, they just tend to be a little chewy. Also, after we form our gnocchi in different shapes, we're going to put them in the freezer. I can only ask you to please put this one in the freezer. Thank you, Sharon. It's about right. Not too dry, not too wet. You want to be able to work it and have your hands relatively clean. Still a little sticky. See how it's sticking to the board just a touch?
Very strange how it turns out into a dough with potatoes.
Basically, it's mashed potatoes. Very similar to what you made last week. Remember the croquette potato? Mashed potato through a ricer, a little nutmeg, salt, and pepper. Gnocchi dough. You can't get much easier than this. A mashed potato, 2 egg yolks, a little seasoning, a little bit of flour. You cut them into logs, just small enough so that they're handleable. If you notice, I'm working my fingertips from the center outward. I want to stretch this guy out a little bit and get it pretty consistent in size. A lot of different shapes that people make gnocchi, and there's something called a gnocchi board. Unfortunately, I don't have it here. That's what puts the little ridges in them.
Is that a Japanese one or
Japanese?
Gnocchi or Italian?
Gnocchi is an Italian dish. There's one way to do them. straight gnocchi. Gnocchi generally have some kind of impression, a fork mark, finger mark, or something to help the sauce bind. You really don't serve gnocchi plain, almost always in sauce. So we want somewhere for the sauce to stick on. I'm making these little pinky finger imprints. Frequently we put them on cornmeal or else semolina flour. I'm going to bother you for a little bit, cornmeal. That's one way to cut our gnocchi. Little pillows. Just a little pillows. Can I call them a little pillow? Kind of look like a little pillow.
Here you go, Chef.
Thank you very much. Good cookie sheet. Another nice way to cut gnocchi is with a fluted cutter. An alternate method. An alternate method of gnocchi. Kind of like using this guy.